Anyway, the next morning, they're preparing to go. It's still before sunrise, but they're up and they're getting ready when into the village from the east comes a troop of goblins, followed up by an ogre. And the head of the goblins, a hooded goblin, nod to my friends over at the hooded goblin, a hooded goblin leads them.
Hello, hello, old friends. I hear you've got some guests here. Bring them out. I'd like to meet them, I would.
And so the party comes out. Never a group to shirk, never a group to be shy, never a group to hide behind, the citizenry. They step forward. We're here as guests. What are you here as?
Whoa. Welcome, welcome. What am I here as? These here mountains belong to the goblins. No one comes to these here mountains without our permission, you understand?
Oh, without your permission. We don't need your permission to be here. Now, at this point, my eldest gets a little cocky. He's not interested in diplomacy. Well, that's not true. He's trying to be interested in diplomacy, but still also trying to be a tough guy, right? And the two are not working together very well, as he continues to attempt to make a peaceful resolution, but to do so with this really cocky attitude. So, we don't need your permission to be here. We are on our way to help you solve your problems. We want to make you happy.
How? You hear that? He wants to make me happy, he does. You know what'd make me happy? Some nice, fresh elf to eat. That'd make me happy.
Oh, no. You're not eating us. If anyone is killing anybody here, it's you who are going to die. Now, are you going to let us pass? This goes back and forth for a little while. Finally, Fleetwood decides he needs a show of power to scare these goblins. He doesn't want to start a fight because the party doesn't want to bring down the wrath of the goblins on this village, but he does want to scare them away. What does he decide to do? He decides to cast Phantasmal Force, which is one of the spells he's been memorizing. Phantasmal Force of the White Dragon. Balamorg, whom they'd fought, so he's seen, he can replicate. It's a small enough creature that he can make a phantasm of it, slightly smaller than the original, but still scary, up in the air, and he says, beyond bow range, because he doesn't want anyone shooting at it, because if you shoot at it, it's going to vanish, right? Well, I roll saves for the villagers, I roll saves for the goblins, I roll a save for the ogre. The villagers are terrified. They're terrified. They think this is a real dragon, all right? The goblins are terrified. They think that's a real dragon, and they have good cause to be afraid of a white dragon. The ogre rolls a 20 on his saving throw against spells. The ogre stands there, the stupidest creature in the entire village, stands there and says, "That's not real. That's not real. You fake. That's not real. That's stupid." Okay, we decided that the ogre simply does not have the imagination required to be fooled by an illusion. He's so stupid, he's smart. "That's fake. Stop making that. Why are you afraid? That's not real." And he walks forward and he pokes at Fleetwood. "Stop it. Stop it." Huge ogre finger slamming into him. And Fleetwood says, "Knock it off. Knock it off." And the ogre rolls a reaction roll and decides to attack. He brings down the club. Boom! It does hit. It hits Fleetwood, and it hurts Fleetwood. Ow! And Fleetwood loses it and fires lightning bolt in response. He says, "I want to fire this thing so it goes up into the ogre so that it doesn't hit the goblins behind him, doesn't hit any villagers. I just want to take out this ogre." All right. Roll the damage. I'll roll the saving throw for the ogre. Well, the ogre misses his save. The ogre misses his saving throw. I better roll up how many hit points this ogre has, because I hadn't been prepared for this. Okay, well, it's not the biggest, toughest ogre in the world. What did you get for your lightning bolt? Well, not the biggest, toughest lightning bolt either. So the ogre is still alive, but he's now down to like 4 hit points. Okay? Zap! The lightning bolt roars up into the ogre. He bellows and stumbles back, okay? The goblins are freaking out. They decide... Yeah, they're running. They're just gonna run. I did a group morale for them. I'm not doing each individual morale. They're gonna run. But before they do, there are 3 archers in the group of goblins, and they take shots at who? One shoots at Bob Johnny, and misses completely. Bob Johnny's armor's too good. Another one takes a shot at Fleetwood, okay, and hits him for 3 hit points. The other one shoots at the tribal chief. Is he gonna hit him? Yeah, the chief isn't wearing armor. Yeah, he hits the chief. How many hit points does the chief have? 7. Well, at least the arrow can't kill him. Came darn close. 6. I rolled a 6. The chief is brought down to 1 hit point. Serious, serious wound. And then the archers, of course, flee. As they do, Bob Johnny says, "Oh, I'm casting magic missile after those 3." And he casts, he has 3 magic missiles. And so they all connect. 2 of the goblins go down, the other one is just wounded and runs away. Incidentally, the ogre swings again at Fleetwood, misses. Fleetwood, with his sword, strikes back. Down goes the ogre. Okay? This isn't good. The goblins are taking off, and they have quite a head start. The goblins are running off, presumably to go tell other goblins what's happening. This is not good for the party. It is not good for the village. Okay? They want to stop these goblins. First, Touchberry runs over to the chief with his sword, and at first freaks the chief out and everyone else, and heals the chief using the sword. And then they say, well, we have to mount up. We have to go. We have to catch them if we can. Onto their horses, onto the mule. Yeehaw! Off they go. Now, as I said, the goblins have quite a head start. This is not the kind of pursuit where you can see the person you're chasing, right? They're following tracks, just making sure the goblins haven't climbed the mountains or anything and headed off into the hills. And so they're following at a distance. The goblins are running in daylight, so they have to be relatively desperate. And the party figures we must be catching up to them at some point. We must be gaining on them. So they continue and continue. Eventually, though, the party has to rest. And they stop and they make camp. And they spend the night huddled against the cliff wall. Nothing happens. Next morning, they wake up. All their combat spells is what they memorize. Their magic missiles and webs and lightning and things like that. And they press on as fast as they can, knowing that the goblins probably continued during the night. But, what can they do? The horses had to sleep. They had to sleep. On they go. They press on. Around midday, I'm rolling for wandering monsters. Okay, well, we got one. What kind of monsters are going to be? It's all sorts of categories. And dragon. Okay. Dragon. I don't like using dragons as wandering monsters. I think dragons should be set pieces, right? But there are other creatures on the dragon list that aren't dragons, and maybe I'll get one of those. Yep. They're passing a section of the shoreline, which is rocky but rideable, right? They can be on their mounts. And just to their right, the northern sea drops off relatively quickly to a great depth. They're riding along, and suddenly the sea begins to burble, and roil, and boil next to them. And so they're on guard, weapons out, ready to go, when out of the sea rises a serpentine head. And then another, and then another, and another, and another, and another, and another. 8 heads come up, all attached to one body. A sea hydra.
And left.
It rises up. Roll for initiative. Okay, the hydra gets a 5. What did you get? 2. 1. 2. 3. 4. 8 attacks this thing gets. Chomp, 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 chomp. Heads coming down all over the place, attacking riders, attacking mounts. 2 of the horses, Bob Johnny's horse and Touchberry's mule, get bitten. Fortunately, they all have over 10 hit points because it's a 1d10 damage for attack, right? So they're in terribly bad shape, but they're still alive. Riders are attacked. Bob Johnny gets hit. Touchberry gets hit. Fleetwood gets hit. Fire gets hit. They're all just so many mouths coming with such a strong creature. All right. Boom! They're badly wounded. But now it's their turn. Bob Johnny and Fleetwood, they look at each other and say, lightning bolt. Boom! 2 lightning bolts slam into this creature. All right. He's going to roll 2 saving throws. Oh, he made that one. He missed one. Okay, made one, missed one. Roll your damage. Wow. Okay. This Hydra had 35 hit points. I used the past tense. It's down to 6 hit points in one go. All right. That was hard. What else? What else you got? Well, Fire is going to loose an arrow, all right, and hits. She hits. It's only a couple of points, but yeah, it's enough. Touchberry, he's got a sword. That's what he's got. And so he uses it. Slam! Into the thing. And that's it. That's it. It shudders, howls, and slumps. Can we cut off its heads? Yeah, you can cut off its heads. Can we take its talons? Yeah, you can take its talons. How many body parts are you collecting here? You know you're chasing goblins, don't you? You're going to spend half your day... All right. So the party spends most of the rest of the day chopping the thing to pieces. Because apparently souvenir hunting is more valuable than goblin hunting. All right. This takes a while. They eventually carry on. It's getting close to night. When they come to a place where the shoreline, just moves in. It's just a slight bay, just a slight inlet, not much of anything, but a mysterious one, because at the top of that inlet there is a collection of standing stones. One of them, the central one, has writing on it. What is this about? Well, before they can find out, as they approach the standing stones, whistling down from the cliff above comes an arrow, and it strikes Fire. They look up, just in time to see a goblin head disappearing behind the edge of the cliff. Ambush. More goblins pop up further down. Bob Johnny lets loose a magic missile, takes one of them out, the other one is wounded, and then they hear the cry of Briark! And around the corner of the beach, around from behind a rock, come charging the troop of goblins, the same ones they had seen in the village. Some of them have swapped out their melee weapons for bows and arrows, and they're up there now. Here they come. Roll initiative. Well, the goblins get it again. We're not rolling great initiative in the group today. Probably not that big a deal. It's just goblins, right? This really proves to be a tough fight. Not so much because the goblins do huge amounts of damage, although the archers are picking at them and poking them, but because for some reason they're having some trouble hitting. Touchberry, getting back to his Torchberry personality, starts throwing flasks of oil on fire, right? He's whipping oil flasks, but missing. He's rolling like 2s and 4s and stuff. And so there's these patches of oil burning on the beach, right? Just areas that they're on fire, but that aren't hitting goblins. Every once in a while, one will come close enough to get a little bit of fire damage on a goblin. They'll take a point or two. But the goblins are weaving in through these things to attack. Fight happens on the beach, but it's inevitable. I mean, it's goblins. And yeah, it's a pretty good-sized group of goblins. Not enough. The goblins had been watching. The goblins saw that Hydra, and they had thought it did more damage than it really had. They did see the lightning bolt spell. But they thought, well, they know enough. Maybe that's the only time they can do that today. These goblins aren't stupid. They've seen spellcasters before. Maybe that's it for them. Well, that was it for their lightning bolt, but, magic missile, and they have swords and an axe and everything. So they clean up the goblins relatively easily. They loot the bodies, of course, and they're about to move on When Fofire says, hang on, we didn't want the goblins finding out about the village. We didn't want them taking news back to their buddies, right, about the village fight. Do we want them to take news back about this fight? Well, no. Look around. Oh, yeah. So they begin throwing goblin bodies into the ocean, right? Maybe they'll be swept out to the sea. Maybe they'll be washed up on shore. Well,